I want to thank you all for joining us today in the celebration of the life of Gwendolyn Davis Visenka, loving daughter, sister, wife, mother, researcher, and community member. My feelings of sadness and joy in Gwen's life are summed up by John Denver's song, sung at our wedding over 33 years ago. It's by far the hardest thing I've ever done, to be so in love with you and so alone. The first line captures the sense of Gwen's loss. All of you have been touched by her in one way or another. To be honest, Gwen would have been embarrassed by all the fuss surrounding the service. That was Gwen, modest to a fault. She loved creating things, a beauty, with her hands, with her voice, with her words, and with her body. She knew what she wanted, and she didn't really care for praise. Indeed, Gwen went after me. It seems like yesterday I was walking down the stairs of Clark University's Jefferson Hall after watching a horrid film, only to be intercepted by my roommate, Chris Townley, who's here with us today, with the stunning, beautiful freshman Gwendolyn Davis at that time in tow. I was persuaded to watch the ghastly film a second time. But I was rewarded afterwards by offering my hand to Gwen to keep hers warm in the chilly November air. As I said, she knew and got what she wanted. I followed Gwen ever since, as John Denver goes on to sing, "Follow me where I go, what I do and who I know. Make it part of you to be a part of me. Follow me up and down, all the way and all around. Take my hand and I will follow too." And we did. We traveled the country visiting all the United States except Alaska and many of its scenic splendors, and spent time in Germany during our stints as graduate students, postdocs, faculty, and researchers. And I have proof. 20 volumes of 35mm photographs from 1983 to 2002, followed by untold gigabytes of digital photographs. Yeah, both Gwen and I were shutterbugs. As I slowly waded through the years of photos for Gwen's memory book, many things became clear to me. She loved children of all types. There are an abundance of images with her cradling our nephews, nieces, friends' babies, and when they weren't available, our cats. You would have thought I would have gotten the hint. Okay, that finally happened during my second postdoc, and Gwen was an amazing mother. After our first meeting with the HMO-provided obstetrician in Ames, Iowa, though, Gwen was really upset. The obstetrician had casually mentioned that forceps might be needed to deliver the baby. Gwen was furious because she already knew that lots of claimed medical necessities were really driven by the fear of litigation. So she did her own extensive research on home births. After all, she had received a PhD in developmental biology. And by the way, that is the biological equivalent of rocket science. Gwen found a great midwife, a doula, and off we went. I held her hand throughout the pregnancy, trusting Gwen's instincts. Eventually, all our boys were born at home, and all the births were amazing. And how to feed these newborns? Gwen had done her research and had decided on breastfeeding, which she was also amazing at. So much so, it inspired her to give up academia for many years to become a Lilach League leader in Ames, Iowa, Fresno, California, and Kennebunk, and later as a lactation consultant. Another thing that the photographs made clear, and Alexander alluded to it, is Gwen loved food. There are countless images of us crowding around a dining room table with family and friends for dinners. Gwen was an amazing cook, always experimenting with different cuisines and exotic ingredients, herbs and animals for fiber, which led to the need for better pollination, beekeeping, wax making, spinning and dyeing her own yarn, knitting, felting, weaving. It was exhausting keeping up with all her interests. Gwen taught her family how to prepare meals, cook them without turning vegetables to mush, present the meal at the table, and most important task of all, cleaning, thoroughly, including wiping down all the surfaces and scrubbing out the sink and drain afterwards. That took me a while to master. But when I did it right, I got a nice squeeze from Gwen as I followed her lead. The photographs also show a lot of laughs. A favorite activity after each Thanksgiving meal was the postprandial anti-tryptophan hike along the adjacent roads or woods near the family homestead of Friendly Crossways in Harvard, Massachusetts. We would share lots of funny stories that can be seen in the smiles and laughter frozen in time on the faces of all the hikers. And then there are the countless face plants caught on film, taken while cross-country skiing in the snows of Iowa, the Sierras, and here in Maine. Not in these pictures. This was before selfies, after all. Were the many times we walked holding hands as I followed Gwen in viewing the awe-inspiring giant sequoias, or coastal redwoods, or quietly down Lover's Lane where Gwen grew up on Nantucket, or here in Kennebunk, where there are not two not-so-quiet dogs. Gwen took half of the pictures in our photo albums. She was good at catching candid shots and candid mischief. On a postgraduate visit to Clark, I found some uncured cement while horsing around with our college friend and best man, Chris Townley. She photographed me as I wrote Chris and my initials into the curing cement. I quickly realized, what am I thinking about? And I deftly turned the C for Chris into a G. Jink. The initials J and G remain there to this very day. I held her hand afterwards, smug in the knowledge of my save. On the half of the pictures I took in our photo albums, you'll notice that Gwen was always absolutely beautiful and had an amazing natural smile. I definitely married way out of my league. And for that, I will always be extremely grateful. And the honor of holding her hand during all the years of our marriage.